came to LA. I did the Groundlings. You know, I went through it, and my dream all of a sudden became Saturday Night Live. I wanted to be on Saturday.
Nice.
But and then on the way, what happened was for the comedy show, we heard about this weird little contest. Howard Stern started talking about this air guitar contest that was going to happen in New York, and we thought, I did a little air guitar on the show,
right?
Mm-hmm. Why don't I enter? We'll go bring a camera, shoot me in the costume, and I'll do the air guitar contest. And then the problem was because Howard talked about it, it became national news.
Of course.
There's been a contest in Finland, Oulu, Finland, for every September for 30 years.
Right.
But the U.S. had never had an official entrant, and this was in 2003. And so I entered this contest, and all the national press showed up.
Oh my goodness!
I'm dressed in those racist outfits.
Yeah.
My character's name in the show is MC Chink Daddy, right? So I got CNN there. I'm thinking I can't say I'm MC Chink Daddy. So I said C Diddy. That was the name.
C Diddy.
C Diddy.
That was the day that C Diddy was born. That was my nom de guerre for air guitar.
I love it.
And then I won that contest. In New York, and then that was a whole other. I made all sorts of weird national news. I remember the next day I was on Stern the next day, which was just bonkers, and he was great. Howard completely understood how air guitar, the joke of air guitar works.
Right.
It's not something you poke fun at yourself. If you're like very self-aware and feeling uncomfortable, silly, it doesn't work. You got to play deadly serious. You really have to. And then. But it hit national news, and I remember like the day it was like rotating on headline news at the airports because I was traveling. I was like, I cannot.
Oh my goodness!
We were just about to invade Iraq, so it was a really crazy time.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm looking at the cover of MSNBC, and I see like Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open, and Dave Jung wins the air guitar contest. I'm like, this is bonkers.
The two right next to each other. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. That's so awesome though, because I feel like, you know, we talk to a lot of people in the entertainment industry, whether that be in front of the camera, behind the camera, just getting started, or been in it for years. So something that is very important that stuck out to me about your story is you're just not afraid to take chances, you know, to try something new, because we talk about that all the time, how if you feel like you know everything, that's when you start to get left behind. It is very important to keep expanding that box that sometimes you put yourself in, but to also step outside of that box often as well. It's so important because there's a lot of things that, like, you know, when you're picking roles, if you get to that status where, they're just offering me roles and I can just pick and not audition. But basically, you know, all these different, you know, avenues you try to direct your career with, right? I mean, trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong. And so to just not be afraid of that and to not limit yourself to that, I feel like is very important, because the podcast, as I'm sure Dustin told you, is very, you know, for the up and comers trying to break into it. So to have no fear, to just have the ambition to just try things and to be a little raunchy sometimes, I think that's what we're starting to get there back with comedy, you know, where you're starting to get back to the raunchiness. But there for a while, for the past 5 years, I feel like a lot of people were scared to do things. So it's very refreshing to have you talk about that, to just be open about, you know, just have fun. You know, some people are going to like it, some people are not. Totally. Just have fun. That's all it's all about.
Yeah, we couldn't do that show now.
No, exactly.
That's exactly right.
We saw that door closed, and I left here around 2006. We could, the National NACA, the National Association of College, like they do the college events. That was right. We could tell they were starting to buckle down on that a little bit. Like,
for sure.
You know, our show brought a lot of discourse. We shed a strong light on it. Now, the need for it is different. Society's changed.
Right.
Yeah.
And those racist tropes are not really relevant. These kids don't even know anything like it.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents didn't necessarily sound like my parents did, right?
Right, right.
So I get it. I get that it's moved on. But I agree. Comedy is always hinged on the truth or the denial of truth.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
And the folly involved in that. So it has been an interesting phase for comedy, for sure. But I don't object to it. I mean, it's different. We all have to try different things. But I do see with my kids, for example, they're pushing back on this. Like, they're very reverent. For them, racism is completely aberrant. It's not the norm at all.
Right.
So they refer to it. It's ridiculous. right? And they use it with total irony, and which is great.
Yeah, yeah.
When I grew up, that was not the case.
No.
You know, they kind of meant it, you know, and it's and that's why I love the air guitar thing, because it was one of those things where, like, I grew up in upstate New York, and I just absorbed the metal around me, even though I listened to pop radio and I was the straightest kid. I had a bowl cut and I loved Jesus and I was really nice. And I go to boarding school to learn how to be a dick and shoot a basketball. But I love metal, and what I love about the air guitar contest is I got to totally upend that stereotype. Like, I'm literally listening to Priest or Van Halen or and my song I picked was by Extreme, by this fabulous guitar player named Nuno Betancourt, and I just get to rock out. Like, I love that music. I love electric guitar.
For
like,
sure.
I don't play, just so you know, I don't play it. I've won so many air guitar contests, and the prize you get for winning these things, ironically, is a guitar.
And you're like, I don't play.
I don't play.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I got the co-op medal, you know, in that outfit.